The Great Hall of Station Orion was the largest room Yuna had ever seen. It stretched so far that she could not see the other end. Lights floated in the air like small stars, and the walls were made of glass that showed the endless darkness of space outside. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy had gathered here today. Some walked on 2 legs. Some walked on 4. Some floated. Some crawled. The air was filled with strange sounds, clicks, whistles, deep rumbles, and high-pitched songs. Yuna stood near a pillar at the edge of the room. She wore a simple gray uniform with a small badge that said, "Translator," in 12 different languages. She was 26 years old. She had short black hair and tired eyes. She was not important. She was not a diplomat or a soldier or a scientist. She was just a translator, one of dozens assigned to help with communication during the Galactic Peace Summit. Her job was to listen and repeat words in different languages. Nothing more. Yuna watched the aliens move through the hall. A group of tall blue beings walked past her. They were called the Corvani. Each one stood 3 meters tall, with 4 arms and skin that shimmered like water. They looked at Yuna for a moment, then looked away. To them, she was nothing. Humans were nothing. Earth had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago. In a galaxy that was billions of years old, humans were like newborn babies. They were weak. They were small. They had no special powers. They could not breathe in water like the Corvani. They could not see in complete darkness like the Velthani. They could not live for 1,000 years like the Eldori. Humans were ordinary in every way. But Yuna did not care what aliens thought of her. She had a job to do. She lifted her translation device and checked the settings. The summit would begin soon. Leaders from 47 species would sign the Great Treaty today. It was supposed to bring peace to a galaxy that had known war for 10,000 years. Yuna did not really believe it would work. She had seen too much. She had watched species promise peace, then break those promises when it suited them. But she hoped. She always hoped. A loud horn sounded through the hall. The talking stopped. Every being turned toward the main entrance. The great doors, each one 50 meters tall, began to open slowly. Light poured through the gap, and Yuna had to shield her eyes. When she could see again, she saw something that took her breath away. The Valorian Queen had arrived. The Valorians were the oldest species in the known galaxy. They had built empires when other species were still learning to make fire. Their technology was so advanced that it seemed like magic, and their queen was the most powerful being in existence. She had lived for 9,000 years. She had seen stars born and die. She had ended wars with a single word. And now she walked into the great hall, surrounded by her royal guards. Yuna stared at her. The queen was beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. Her skin was pale silver, and it glowed softly like moonlight. Her eyes were large and deep purple, filled with wisdom and sadness. She was thin and fragile-looking, almost like she was made of glass. Long white robes flowed behind her as she walked. She moved slowly, carefully, as if each step took great effort. The guards around her wore golden armor and carried weapons that hummed with energy. The hall was completely silent. No one spoke. No one moved. Every being watched the queen with respect and fear. She was not just a leader. She was a legend. She was the reason this summit was happening. She had called for peace. She had demanded that all species come together, and no one could refuse her. Yuna felt her heart beating fast. She had never seen the queen before. Most beings never did. The queen rarely left her home world. For her to come here in person meant that this summit was truly important. It meant that peace might actually be possible. The queen walked to the center of the hall, where a raised platform waited for her. She climbed the steps slowly, her guards following close behind. When she reached the top, she turned to face the crowd. Her purple eyes moved across the room, looking at each species in turn. When her gaze passed over Yuna, the young translator felt a strange warmth in her chest. It lasted only a moment, but it left her shaking. The queen raised one thin hand. Her voice was soft, but it carried through the entire hall without any need for speakers. "I thank you all for coming," she said. "Today, we write a new chapter in the history of our galaxy. Today, we choose peace over war, life over death, hope over fear. The crowd listened in perfect silence. Even the beings who hated each other stood still and quiet. The Queen's words seemed to wrap around everyone like a warm blanket. I know that trust is hard. The Queen continued. I know that old wounds do not heal easily. But I believe in the goodness that exists in all living things. I have seen it. I have felt it. And I know that together, we can build something beautiful. Yuna wiped a tear from her eye. She did not know why she was crying. The Queen's words were simple, but they touched something deep inside her. She looked around and saw that others were crying too. Even the Corvani, who were known for their cold hearts, had water running down their blue faces. The Queen smiled. It was a tired smile, but it was real. Let us begin, she said. The ceremony started. One by one, leaders from each species walked to the platform. They bowed to the Queen and placed their mark on a glowing document, the Great Treaty. Yuna watched and translated when needed. Hours passed. Her feet hurt from standing. Her throat was dry, but she did not complain. She kept working. She did not notice the shadows moving at the edge of the hall. She did not see the figures hiding behind the pillars. She did not know that everything was about to change. The Corvani leader had just finished signing the treaty. He stepped back from the platform with a proud look on his face. The crowd clapped politely. The Queen nodded her thanks. Then the lights went out. Yuna heard screams. She heard the sound of weapons firing. She heard glass breaking and bodies falling. The darkness was complete. She could not see her own hand in front of her face. Fear grabbed her heart and squeezed tight. Something terrible was happening, and Yuna was right in the middle of it. The darkness lasted only 10 seconds, but it felt like forever. Yuna pressed her back against the pillar and tried to breathe. Her heart was pounding so hard that she could hear it in her ears. Around her, she heard chaos, screaming, running, the crash of metal against metal. Then the emergency lights came on, filling the hall with a dim red glow. What Yuna saw made her blood turn cold. Soldiers in black armor were everywhere. They had come through the walls, through the floor, through hidden doors that no one knew existed. They carried weapons that glowed with dark, purple energy. They moved fast and without mercy. Already, dozens of bodies lay on the ground. Diplomats, guards, servants. They had been cut down before they could even react. The Queen's royal guards formed a circle around the platform. Their golden armor shone in the red light. They raised their weapons and fired at the attackers. Bright beams of energy shot across the hall. Some of the black soldiers fell, but more kept coming. There were too many of them. Yuna pressed herself harder against the pillar. She was shaking. She was not a fighter. She had never held a weapon in her life. All she could do was hide and watch as the nightmare unfolded. She saw a Corvani diplomat try to run. 3 black soldiers surrounded him. He raised his forearms to protect himself. It did not help. He fell a moment later, his blue blood spreading across the white floor. She saw a group of Velthani scientists huddled together in a corner. The black soldiers walked past them without attacking. They had a specific target. They were not here to kill everyone. They were here for the Queen. Yuna realized this with horrible clarity. The attackers were ignoring most of the crowd. They were focused on the central platform. They were trying to break through the circle of royal guards, and they were succeeding. One by one, the golden guards fell. Their armor, which had seemed so strong, could not protect them from the dark weapons. The Queen stood in the center of the platform, her silver face calm but sad. She did not try to run. She could not run. Her body was too old, too fragile. She had used most of her strength just to walk into the hall. Yuna watched as the last royal guard fell to his knees. His armor was cracked. Blood dripped from under his helmet. He tried to raise his weapon one more time, but a black soldier kicked it away. The guard looked up at the Queen. "Forgive me," he whispered. Then he collapsed. The Queen was alone. The black soldiers surrounded the platform. They did not climb the steps yet. They seemed to be waiting for something. The hall had gone quiet. The other aliens, thousands of them, stood frozen in place. No one moved to help. No one called out. They just watched with wide eyes full of fear. Yuna felt sick. How could they do nothing? How could they stand there while the queen was about to die? But even as she thought this, she understood. They were afraid. They were weak. They did not want to die for someone else. A figure stepped forward from the group of black soldiers. This one was different. The armor was decorated with silver lines that formed strange patterns. The helmet was shaped like a skull. When the figure spoke, the voice was deep and filled with hate. 9,000 years, the figure said. 9,000 years you have ruled this galaxy. 9,000 years you have told us what to do, what to think, what to believe. The queen looked at the figure without fear. Harok, she said softly. I wondered when you would show yourself. The figure Harok laughed. It was an ugly sound. You knew this was coming, he said. You always know everything, don't you? The great and wise queen. The mother of the galaxy. The keeper of peace. He spat the last word like it was poison. Peace is a lie. Peace makes us weak. The strong should rule, and the weak should serve. That is the true way of the universe. The true way of the universe is love, the queen said. Her voice was gentle. It is kindness. It is reaching out a hand to help those who have fallen. Harok raised his weapon. It hummed with dark energy. Then reach out your hand to death, he said. Yuna's body moved before her mind could stop it. She did not think. She did not plan. She simply moved. Her feet carried her across the hall. Past fallen bodies. Past frozen aliens. Past black soldiers who did not even notice her. She was small. She was fast. And she was running straight toward the platform. Later, she would not be able to explain why she did it. She was nobody. She was a translator. She had no power, no weapons, no special abilities. The queen was ancient, and wise, and powerful. Yuna was young and ordinary and weak. There was no logical reason for her to act, but something inside her had broken. Something inside her could not accept standing still while evil won. She had spent her whole life being told that humans were worthless, that they had nothing to offer the galaxy, that they should stay quiet and stay out of the way. No more. Yuna reached the steps of the platform just as Harok raised his weapon to fire. She threw herself forward, climbing the steps as fast as she could. Her lungs burned, her muscles screamed. But she did not stop. Harok saw her at the last moment. His skull-shaped helmet turned toward her. She could not see his face, but she could feel his confusion. Who was this creature? What did it think it was doing? Yuna reached the top of the platform. She ran to the queen and stood in front of her. She spread her arms wide, making herself as big as possible. Her back was to the queen. Her front faced Harok and his weapon. The hall went completely silent. Every being, alien and human, friend and enemy, stopped and stared. Time seemed to freeze. The only sound was Yuna's heavy breathing. Harok tilted his head. What is this? He asked. Yuna's voice shook, but she forced the words out. If you want to hurt her, she said, you will have to go through me first. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Harok laughed. It started as a small chuckle and grew into a roar. His soldiers joined in. The sound filled the hall, bouncing off the walls and ceiling. A human, Harok said when he finally stopped laughing. A tiny, weak, worthless human. You think you can stop me? You think your pathetic body can protect the queen? Yuna did not move. I do not think, she said. I know. The laughter stopped. Harok stared at her. Behind him, his soldiers shifted nervously. Something had changed in the air. The frozen aliens in the crowd began to whisper. They looked at the small human standing alone against an army, and they began to wonder, maybe humans were not so worthless after all. The queen's hand touched Yuna's shoulder. It was cold and light, like the wing of a butterfly. Yuna felt a wave of warmth flow through her body. Her fear did not disappear, but it became smaller. She could breathe again. Child, the queen whispered behind her. What are you doing? Yuna kept her eyes on Harok. She did not turn around. What someone should have done a long time ago, she said. Harok took a step forward. His weapon was still raised, still pointing at Yuna. The dark energy inside it made a low, angry sound. Move aside, human, he said. This is not your fight. This is not your world. Go back to your little planet and hide in your caves like your ancestors did. Yuna's hands were shaking. Her legs felt like water. Every part of her body screamed at her to run away. But she did not move. She could not move. Something had locked her feet to the floor. It was not magic. It was something stronger. It was choice. No, she said. The word was small and simple, but it echoed through the silent hall like thunder. The thousands of aliens watching held their breath. They had seen many things in their long lives. They had seen wars and miracles and wonders, but they had never seen this. They had never seen a creature so small stand against a force so large. Harok's soldiers raised their weapons. There were at least 50 of them surrounding the platform. Each one could kill Yuna with a single shot. She knew this. She understood that she was about to die, but she did not move. You are brave, Harok said. His voice had changed. The mockery was gone. Something else had replaced it. Stupid, but brave. I almost respect you, human. But respect does not stop bullets. Neither does fear, Yuna said. You want everyone to be afraid of you. You think fear is power. But it is not. Fear is weakness. Real power is standing up for what is right, even when you know you cannot win. Harok was quiet for a moment. Behind him, his soldiers shifted their weight. They were getting impatient. They wanted to finish this and leave before reinforcements arrived. Pretty words, Harok finally said. But words do not stop death. He raised his weapon higher. His finger moved to the trigger. Yuna closed her eyes. She thought about her home. She thought about Earth, the blue oceans, the green forests, the cities full of people who had no idea what was happening in this corner of the galaxy. She thought about her mother, who was probably sleeping right now, dreaming peaceful dreams. She thought about all the things she would never do, the places she would never see, the life she would never live. Then she thought about the Queen. 9,000 years. The Queen had lived for 9,000 years. She had seen empires rise and fall. She had guided countless species toward peace. She had given everything she had to make the galaxy a better place. And now, at the end of her long life, she was about to be murdered by someone who believed only in hate. Yuna could not allow that. She opened her eyes. Fire your weapon, she said. Her voice was steady now. The shaking had stopped. Kill me. But know this, my death will not be the end. It will be the beginning. The galaxy will see what happened here today. They will see that a human stood up when everyone else sat down. They will see that courage can exist in the smallest hearts. And they will remember. The hall was completely still. Yuna could hear her own heartbeat. She could hear the soft breathing of the Queen behind her. She could hear the hum of Harok's weapon. Then she heard something else. A voice. It came from somewhere in the crowd. It was thin and weak. But it was there. She is right. Another voice joined it. Then another. Then another. The human is right. We should not be standing here. We should be fighting. Harok turned his head. His soldiers looked around nervously. The crowd was changing. The fear was still there. But something new was growing beside it. Something dangerous. Hope. A Corvani stepped forward from the crowd. He was young, barely an adult by his species standards. His forearms were empty. He had no weapon. But he walked toward the platform anyway. I stand with the human, he said. A Velthani followed. Then, Eldori. Then, other species that Yuna could not even name. They walked out of the crowd and stood at the bottom of the platform. They looked up at Yuna with something new in their eyes. Respect. Harok's weapon moved back and forth. There were too many targets now. His soldiers looked to him for orders. But he said nothing. This was not part of the plan. The attack was supposed to be fast and clean. Kill the queen, escape, blame someone else. But now everything was falling apart. "This changes nothing," Harak shouted. His voice was loud, but it had lost its confidence. "You cannot stop us. We are the true rulers of this galaxy. You are finished." The voice came from behind Harak. He spun around. A door had opened in the wall, a door that had been hidden until now. Soldiers in silver armor poured through. They were the Queen's elite guard, the ones who had been stationed outside the hall. They had finally broken through the attackers' blockade. Harak looked at his soldiers. He looked at the crowd that was no longer frozen. He looked at the small human standing on the platform, with her arms still spread wide. He made his choice. His weapon fired. Yuna felt the heat before she felt the pain. The dark energy hit her in the side, spinning her around. She fell to her knees. The world went blurry. She heard screaming. She was not sure if it was her own voice or someone else's. But she did not fall completely. She caught herself with one hand. Blood dripped onto the white floor. Her side was on fire. But she pushed herself back up. She stood again. She faced Harak again. "You missed," she said through clenched teeth. Harak stared at her. His skull helmet could not show expression, but his body told the story. He was shocked. He was confused. He was afraid. "What are you?" he whispered. Yuna smiled. It hurt to smile, but she did it anyway. "I am human," she said, "and we do not give up." The silver soldiers reached the platform. The battle began. But Yuna did not see it. Her legs finally gave out, and she fell backward. The queen caught her in thin arms that were stronger than they looked. "Rest now, brave one," the queen said. Her voice was soft and sad and proud. "You have done enough." Yuna looked up at the queen's silver face. The purple eyes were filled with tears. "Is it over?" Yuna asked. "Almost," the queen said. "Almost." The darkness came for Yuna then. But it was not the darkness of death. It was the darkness of sleep. And in that sleep, she dreamed of stars. Yuna woke to the sound of battle. Her eyes opened slowly, and the world came back in pieces. Red lights. Screaming. The smell of smoke and burned metal. She was lying on the platform, her head resting on something soft. When she looked up, she saw the queen's face above her. "Stay still," the queen said. "You are hurt." Yuna tried to speak, but only a cough came out. Pain exploded in her side. She looked down and saw blood, her blood soaking through her gray uniform. The wound from Harak's weapon was bad. Very bad. But she was alive. She forced herself to sit up. The queen tried to stop her, but Yuna shook her head. "What is happening?" she asked. The queen pointed. Yuna turned and saw chaos. The silver soldiers, the queen's elite guard, were fighting Harak's black soldiers. Energy beams flew through the air. Bodies fell. The beautiful white floor was now covered with blood of many colors: blue, green, yellow, red. The battle was terrible and beautiful at the same time. But something was wrong. The silver soldiers were losing. There were not enough of them. For every black soldier they killed, 2 more seemed to appear. Harak had planned this attack for a long time. He had brought an army, and the elite guard, for all their skill, could not hold them back forever. Yuna saw Harak standing near the edge of the platform. He was watching the battle with calm eyes. He had not tried to attack the queen again. He was waiting. He knew that soon his soldiers would break through, and then nothing would stop him. Yuna looked around. She needed a weapon. She needed something, anything to fight with. Her eyes landed on a broken piece of metal lying nearby. It had been part of a guard's armor before he fell. It was sharp on one end, not much of a weapon, but better than nothing. She grabbed it. "What are you doing?" the queen asked. Yuna did not answer. She climbed to her feet. The pain was incredible. Every movement felt like fire in her side. But she had made a promise. She had said that Harak would have to go through her, and she meant it. She walked across the platform toward Harak. Her steps were slow and unsteady. Blood dripped behind her, leaving a trail of red. The aliens, who were still watching those who had not run or joined the fight, stared at her with open mouths. The human was still standing. The human was still fighting. It should have been impossible. The wound alone should have killed her. But there she was, walking toward the most dangerous being in the hall, carrying nothing but a piece of broken metal. Harok noticed her when she was 5 meters away. He turned, and his skull helmet tilted to one side. "You should be dead," he said. "Sorry to disappoint you," Yuna said. Harok raised his weapon. "I will not miss this time." Yuna moved. Later, people would say it was impossible. They would say that humans were slow, weak, pathetic creatures who could never match the speed of a trained warrior. But they were wrong. In that moment, Yuna was not slow. She was not weak. She was something else entirely. She was desperate. She threw herself to the side just as Harok fired. The dark energy passed so close that she felt it burn her cheek. Then she was on her feet again, rushing forward, the broken metal in her hand. Harok tried to aim again, but she was too close. She swung the metal at his weapon arm. The sharp edge cut through the gap between his armor plates. He screamed and dropped the weapon. Yuna did not stop. She kept moving, kept attacking. She was not skilled. She had no training. But she had something better than skill. She had the desperate strength of someone who had nothing left to lose. She hit Harok again and again. In the arm, in the leg, in the side. Her movements were wild and clumsy, but they worked. The metal found gaps in his armor. Blood, dark purple, almost black, began to flow. Harok fell back. His soldiers saw what was happening and tried to help, but the silver guards blocked them. The battle around the platform grew fiercer. No one could reach them. It was just Yuna and Harok. "What are you?" Harok gasped. He was on one knee now, holding his wounded arm. "You are just a human. You are nothing. How can you do this?" Yuna stood over him. Her body was shaking. The blood loss was catching up to her. She could feel herself getting weaker with every second. But she did not fall. "You want to know what I am?" she said. "I am tired. I am scared. I am in pain. But I am still here. I am still standing." That is what humans do. We do not give up. We do not surrender. We fight until we cannot fight anymore. And then, we fight some more. She raised the broken metal. Harok looked up at her. For the first time, she saw his eyes through the gaps in his helmet. They were yellow, like a snake's. And they were filled with something she had never expected to see. Fear. "Please," he said. "Please. You came here to kill an innocent woman," Yuna said. "You came here to destroy peace. You came here to spread hate and fear across the galaxy." She paused. "Give me one reason why I should show you mercy." Harok's mouth opened, but no words came out. Yuna waited. The battle raged around them. The silver soldiers were starting to win now. More reinforcements had arrived. The black soldiers were falling back. Finally, Harok spoke. "There is no reason," he whispered. "I deserve death." Yuna looked at him for a long moment. Then she lowered the metal. "Maybe," she said. "But I am not like you. I do not kill because I can. I do not hurt because it makes me feel powerful." She stepped back. "You will face justice. Real justice. And you will spend the rest of your life thinking about what you have done." Harok stared at her. He did not understand. He had expected death. He had expected revenge. He had not expected mercy. Yuna turned away from him. Her legs were giving out. The broken metal slipped from her fingers. She walked back toward the queen, each step harder than the last. The queen watched her come. Tears were streaming down her silver face. "You could have killed him," she said. "Yes," Yuna said, "but you did not." "No." "Why?" Yuna reached the queen. She fell to her knees, then collapsed onto her back. The stars above the glass ceiling were beautiful. So many stars. So many worlds, so many lives. Because that is not who I am, she said softly. That is not who humans are. The queen knelt beside her and took her hand. No, the queen agreed. It is not. Yuna smiled. The pain was fading now. Everything was fading. But she was not afraid. She had done what she needed to do. She had protected the queen. She had stood when everyone else had knelt, and that was enough. The darkness came for her again, but this time, there were no dreams, only peace. Yuna opened her eyes and saw white. For a moment, she thought she was dead. Then she felt pain in her side, and she knew she was alive. Dead people did not feel pain. At least, she hoped they did not. She was lying in a bed. The room around her was small and clean, filled with soft light. Machines hummed quietly beside her, showing numbers and lines that she did not understand. A window on one wall showed the darkness of space, filled with distant stars. She tried to sit up, but her body refused. Everything hurt. Her side, her arms, her legs, even her face. She felt like she had been run over by a transport ship. A door opened. A Corvani nurse walked in, tall, blue, with 4 arms that moved gracefully. When she saw that Yuna was awake, her face broke into a wide smile. "You are awake," the nurse said. "I will tell the others. Stay still. Do not try to move." She hurried out of the room. Yuna lay back and stared at the ceiling. She tried to remember what had happened. The summit. The attack. Harok. The queen. Standing on the platform. Pain. Darkness. Had it worked? Was the queen safe? The door opened again. This time, 3 people entered. The Corvani nurse returned with a serious-looking doctor. Behind them was a human man in a military uniform. He had gray hair and tired eyes. His uniform was decorated with medals and ribbons. "Miss Yuna," the military man said, "my name is General Tejo. I am the commander of the human forces in this sector. How do you feel?" "Like I died and came back," Yuna said. Her voice was weak and rough. General Tejo smiled slightly. "You almost did. The wound you received should have killed you. The doctors say it is a miracle that you survived." The Corvani doctor nodded. "Your body lost 60% of its blood. Your organs were failing. By all logic, you should be dead. But humans..." The doctor shook his head. "Humans are strange creatures. Your body refused to give up. It kept fighting long after it should have stopped." Yuna did not know what to say. She remembered the pain, the weakness, the feeling of everything fading away. But she also remembered something else. A warmth in her chest, a voice in her head that said, "Keep going, keep going, keep going." "The queen," she said suddenly. "Is the queen safe?" General Tejo's smile grew wider. "She is. Thanks to you." The attack was stopped. Harok and his surviving soldiers have been arrested. They will face trial for their crimes. He paused. "The queen herself has been asking about you. She has visited this room 3 times while you were sleeping." Yuna's eyes went wide. "The queen visited me?" "She did. She sat beside your bed for hours, holding your hand. She said she owed you a debt that could never be repaid." Yuna did not know how to process this information. She was nobody. She was a translator. The queen was the most powerful being in the galaxy. Why would she visit a simple human? The door opened one more time, and there she was. The Valorian queen stood in the doorway, her silver skin glowing softly in the light. She was wearing simple white robes today, without any of the formal decorations she had worn at the summit. She looked tired but peaceful. Her purple eyes were fixed on Yuna. General Tejo and the others bowed low. The queen nodded to them. "Please leave us," she said. Her voice was gentle. "I wish to speak with this young woman alone." They left without a word. The door closed. Yuna was alone with the queen. The queen walked slowly to the bed. She moved like water flowing downhill, smooth and graceful, but careful. When she reached the bedside, she lowered herself into a chair. "Hello, Yuna," she said. "Hello, Your Majesty," Yuna replied. She tried to bow her head, but the queen stopped her. "No," the queen said. "Do not bow. Not to me. Not ever again. You have earned the right to look me in the eyes as an equal." Yuna felt tears forming. She did not know why. Everything felt too big, too important, too much. "I did not do anything special," she said. I could not stand there and watch. I had to do something." The queen smiled. It was the same tired, real smile Yuna remembered from the summit. "That is exactly why it was special," the queen said. "You saw evil happening, and you could not accept it. You did not think about danger. You did not think about yourself. You simply acted." She reached out and took Yuna's hand. Her fingers were cold but gentle. "In 9,000 years of life, I have seen many brave creatures. Warriors who fought armies. Heroes who saved worlds. Legends whose names will never be forgotten. But I have never seen courage like yours." Yuna shook her head. "I was scared. I was so scared I could barely breathe." "Of course you were," the queen said. "That is what courage is. It is not the absence of fear. It is the choice to act despite fear. And you made that choice when no one else did." The queen was silent for a moment. Her purple eyes looked into the distance, seeing something that Yuna could not see. "I have lived a long time," the queen said finally. "Too long, perhaps. I have seen species rise and fall. I have watched empires burn. I have held dying friends in my arms and buried more loved ones than I can count. Sometimes I wonder if the universe has any goodness left." She looked back at Yuna. "And then someone like you comes along, someone small and ordinary and fragile, someone who should have run away but stayed to fight. And I remember why I keep trying. Why peace is worth fighting for. Why love is stronger than hate." "Okay," she squeezed Yuna's hand. "You saved my life, Yuna. But more than that, you saved my hope." Yuna was crying now. The tears ran down her cheeks and dripped onto the pillow. She did not try to stop them. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now?" The queen smiled. "Now the galaxy changes. The attack has been broadcast to every world. Billions of beings watched what you did. They saw a human stand alone against an army. They saw courage and mercy and strength in someone they had always ignored." She paused. "Humanity will never be seen as weak again. You have changed the future of your entire species." Yuna did not know how to respond. It was too much to understand. The queen stood slowly. She looked down at Yuna with eyes full of warmth and gratitude. "I will leave you to rest now," she said. "But before I go, I want to give you something." She reached into her robes and pulled out a small object. It was a pin made of silver metal, shaped like a star. Ancient symbols were carved into its surface. "This is the Star of Valoria," the queen said. "It is the highest honor my people can give. In 9,000 years, only 7 beings have received it. You are the 8th. She placed the pin gently in Yuna's hand. "From this day forward, you will be known as Yuna the Brave, the soul who stood when all others knelt. Your name will be remembered for as long as stars burn in the sky." Yuna looked at the pin in her hand. It was small and simple, but it felt heavy with meaning. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you, Your Majesty." The queen walked to the door. Before she left, she turned back one last time. "No, Yuna," she said softly. "Thank you." Then she was gone. Yuna lay in her bed, holding the Star of Valoria in her hand. Outside the window, the stars continued to shine. Billions of worlds. Trillions of lives. And somewhere out there, they were all talking about a simple human translator who had changed everything. She smiled and closed her eyes. Tomorrow, the galaxy would be different. But tonight, she would rest. She had earned it.